Hi everybody. Well, if you're familiar with a certain first-person shooter, then this place may be familiar to you as well. Let's jump into the air. And you should be able to see that what I've created here, with much help from Inclement Dab's DayZ editor, is a DayZ version of NukeTown. This point of interest, which is northeast of the military base at Tisy in Chernihiv, is inspired by NukeTown. So I tried to bring in some of its core components, and the files that are included for free in this download. Remember, this will work for console, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Are in a few parts. So there's going to be a file that gives you all the structures that you can see here. So the containers and the town, the houses. And the tents. There's going to be an XML snippet that will spawn simple loot inside these structures like they would normally. And then there's another Json file that spawns lots and lots of weapons using the object spawner method as well. So that when you turn an event on, you'll have lots and lots of weapons to use. So a little bit of background for it. So NukeTown, one of the iconic Call of Duty maps, nice close quarters map as well. And what I tried to do here was create a location. This is the Chernihiv Army's close quarters combat training area. And the idea is that the containers are there to kind of border off the area. Now, of course, players can jump onto containers. So when you come to hold an event here, you're going to have to lay down some ground rules with your people who are playing. There is also a file that gives you spawn points. So when players die, they will spawn here at the reception centre. So these 3 tents you can see in the middle, there's a little bit of food and a little bit of drink in here as well. So the idea is that when you're holding a NukeTown event, get your players to drive up here, to park up or to run up here and put their backpacks inside these tents. They can have a little bit of food. They can have a little bit of a drink. Explain them to the rules. Then you start your game. And what happens is every time someone dies, they'll spawn back near these tents. And the idea is that depending which team you're on, you either run to the left or you run to the right. And then you pick up a helmet, you pick up guns, and you go into the area. I would suggest that one of the basic rules you have is that players from each team are not allowed to go further than the veranda of the opposing team's house, so that they can't spawn trap people too much as they're coming out, because we can't have a spawn system like they have in Call of Duty. There's a number of different game modes you can do. You can just play for fun and kill each other. If you want to track kills, though, one of the things I suggest you do is have a limited number of respawns, and you do that by having a limited number of helmets. Now, that might seem a little bit... I'll show you in a second anyway. Now, if you're just keen to get on with installing this on your server, all you need to do is go to my Github repository. I'll put a link in the description below the video, and you can download all the files. And what the files include is there's some screenshots that show you it. There's a map of where it is, and I've included a readme. Now the readme has full installation instructions how to get this working, and I've also included the NukeTown project.dz at DZE file. So that's the actual file from the editor. So if you load that file into DayZ editor, the DayZ editor mod, you can actually change it for yourself, because there is actually at least one error in the map with something floating in the air that shouldn't be. So as I say, just download the files. If you click on the code button, download zip, download that to your local computer, and just go through the readme, and that tells you exactly how to install these files. But let's go into a little bit more detail. So let's go over here. Go back to where my character is. There we go. And let's just finish the free cam. Okay, there we go. Now, because this is DayZ, when you actually run an event, things can happen. So, for example, some wolves have have turned up, which is great. So let's I think I've got God turned on. Have we got God turned on? Hopefully we have, otherwise I'm going to die in a second. So let's have a quick look in here. So as you can see, so this is the reception area. So this is where the food and drink is. And if we run round to the left, we'll pick up a gun in a second. Oh, hello. Great. Where are you gone? Oop. Just finish off these. Okay, so the idea is that you'll either be on the blue team or the green team. And if you're on the blue team, you run around here and you put on a press vest. And you put on a press helmet. And then you go through one of the tents. And you'll either find orgs, and they're the orgs with the scope on. Or you'll find M16s, and you'll find some bandages here, so you can pick up some weapons. I need to heal my player. Or if you go through these containers, each container has got a scout sniper rifle, a couple of mags, and a scope in. But there's only 2 of those. And then the idea then is once you're through here, you go through these containers, then you're into the play area here where you can, start shooting each other and generally having a good time. Also, if you go here into here, there's a bit of a secret. There in here, there is a couple of landmines and a couple, if you get close enough, I think there's a couple of grenades as well. Maybe not. I think they may have disappeared. But anyway, there's some landmines there as well. So you can then set them up. And I really wanted that NukeTown feel, so I've tried to keep everything as close as possible. So in NukeTown, when you would come through here, and then you could go upstairs, whoop, and then you can kind of see over to the other house, like there, and you can see sort of the areas down there. And then if we go down here, you should see, in the middle here we've got the bus, we've got the truck. Unfortunately, some of the buildings in DayZ don't have ins and outs, so these are a bit odd. But I've tried to create a little bit of cover here with an extra truck there, and there's a couple of bus stops on either side. Also, if you're playing as the green team, well, it doesn't matter, but there's also this water tower which you can climb up and use as a sniping location. So if we come through here, we'll see here. So if you're playing as the green team, the idea is when you respawn. In fact, I tell you, if I kill my character, right, so he's dead. So I'll now respawn. You see, so I've respawned over here at the reception centre. But let's say I was on the green team. As soon as you respawn, you'd leg it to the right. And obviously, one of the rules would be, you can't engage people. In fact, let's toggle God on. Until you get in. So you would come around here, sprint around here, and as you can see, you'd have to put a green helmet on, and you would put a plate carrier. Now, it could be that the plate carriers are better than the press vests at being, bulletproof, but I'm not sure. But anyway, I mean, this is all close quarters stuff. So you're going to die pretty soon anyway. And one of the ways that you could score the game is you could say, one of the ideas is that players can keep respawning until you run out of helmets. All right. So as soon as you run out of helmets, the team who's run out of helmets have to pop a grenade like this. So they then have to, I don't even know how to pop a grenade actually on PC, but you would pop the grenade, there we go, and they could drop that, and that would be them signifying that they've run out of helmets, they've lost the game, and the other team would know to stop attacking them. And then what you would do is you would then restart the server, and when you restart the server, all the weapons spawn in again as well. So that you can then play. So that would be one way of doing it. You could also play a version of, say, Kill Confirmed, and what that would be is, as players die, the other team would have to pick up their helmets, so the blue helmets in this case, and then bring them back to their back area here and drop them off. And again, when the other team got to their helmets and there's no more blue helmets for them to use, they would pick up the flare, pop it, and that would be an indication to the other team that we've got no helmets on, we've lost, kind of thing. Now they're just a couple of ideas really on how you could, let's go up, use this area. You have to make up your own rules. I quite like the idea of allowing players to climb on the containers as well. And move along the containers, because the problem we have is that because we don't have a way of spawning players in different locations if they're becoming spawn trapped. If you say, well, actually, as soon as you've come through the 3 tents, and at that point you can then climb on top of the containers and run along the containers. What that also means is players can then jump off the containers onto things like the roof of the house. And you have all sorts of fun things going on as well. These little areas here, this is so people can watch the action, which I think is pretty cool. And generally, have fun on it. Now, because of the method I've used to spawn in the weapons using the object spawner, that spawns in a lot of weapons. So one of the things I would say is, if you just want to have this NukeTown area as a point of interest, you just use the one file. So what you would do, if we go to the instructions, so there's two files. In fact, let's look at the files here. So there's here we go, NukeTown structures.json and NukeTown weapons. So when you're editing your CFG gameplay.json file, if you just put custom stroke NukeTown structures.json in there, that will just spawn those buildings in. And then if you go to the readme and then you add in the XML snippets that are there into your map group pos, that will make loot spawn into those. And then, where are we? Where's the readme gone? And then if you want the weapons to spawn in, add in custom /nuke weapons.json. But that can, as the server keeps restarting, that could lead to a problem. So what I kind of recommend you do is run, by all means, load in custom /nuketown structures.json, so the buildings are there. Load in the XML snippet to your map group pos, so it's kind of an interesting place for players to visit. And then when you're running an event, where players are going to come along and get involved in the PvP event, then upload the custom /nuke weapons.json, or refer to it in the object spawner array line, then restart the server, and those weapons will then appear. And then when your event is finished, remove custom /nuke weapons.json from the object spawner line and restart. And although those weapons will be hanging around, they will then slowly start to disappear. That's another reason why I just really went with the M16, the AUG, and the one version of the Pioneer Scout Rifle, because I didn't want to suck all of the weapons out of the loot economy for your particular server. And as I say, the final part of it is the CFG player spawn points.xml file that I've included, which you can just upload over the existing one in the root directory of your missions folder. And all this is, it just comments out all of the normal spawn points for the players and just keeps one spawn point. That's all it does. So when you upload that one over the top of your existing one, it just means that when players die, they always end up there. So obviously, what you want to do is when your event is finished, you'll want to either upload a backup of your CFG player spawn points.xml, a vanilla version of it, or what you can do is you could just delete that line there and then remove the open comments hyphen exclamation mark and then the left arrow, and then remove the hyphen right arrow brackets, and that would then reactivate those spawn points, and then you can restart and get it going again. So as I say, the most important thing to remember is read the readme, because all the instructions for the readme, how to get this working, are in there. Just follow them line by line. And by all means, if you want to edit my file within DayZ editor, go for it. And hopefully you find this fun, useful, with a nice close quarter DayZ version of Call of Duty's classic NukeTown map. Anyway, that's enough from me. Hopefully you find that useful. If you have, if you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. And of course, I will see you again soon.